Programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Equilibrium Probiotics. Ito ay ang bagong food supplement na gawa sa mga piling gulay at prutas at dumaan sa isang masusing proseso para mapangalagaan ang inyong kalusugan. Ang Equilibrium Probiotics ay dinisenyo para sa kalusugan ng ating tiyan, tulungan ang pagkuha ng sapat na nutrition at ang pagpapalabas sa ating sistema ng mga nakamasirang toxins. Ang Equilibrium Probiotics ay may iba't ibang disenyo at sakta base sa inyong pangangailangan. Mula sa boost para sa mga bata, fortitude, muscle-grade, miracle food, periwinkle, at ang pinakabago, liver food. Ang Equilibrium Probiotics ay may pagmamalaki na produktong gawa sa kanya. Ito ay mabibili sa sachet, Beta-Road San Sebastian Phase 3, Pinaugana, Talangsing. At para sa mga malalayong lugar, bibili din ang produkto ng Equilibrium Probiotics sa Lazada. Ito ay eksklusibong gawa ni Ginang Malu Reyes Brewing. Ano pang hinihintay nyo, mga kasangga? Hala, bili na!
Good morning, good morning, good morning! Good morning po mga sa lahat ng mga taga-subaybay ng MSB Kape at Balita sa Umaga. Ang inyong daily dose of news na ihahatid po sa inyo ni Kuya Dong sa loob lamang po ng 30 minutos. Best effort. At sa mga nakatune in na, magandang umaga po. Lalo-lalo na kay Manong Bert Arsiaga. Good morning po, Manong. May imbag na adlaw sa iyo, Manong. At bago po tayo magsimula sa ating pagbabalita, sa ating news update, samahan niyo po muna ako sa isang maikling panalangin. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Mahal namin lumikha, maraming salamat po sa bagong araw na ipinagkaloob niyo po sa amin. At sa mapayapang gabing lumipas, at sa patuloy na pagbuhos ng iyong mga biyaya sa amin at sa aming bayan. Naway ipagkaloob mo po sa amin ang lakas at tibay ng loob upang mapaglabanan ng kasamaan at manatili po kami sa paggawa ng mabuti sa kapwa at sa pagsunod sa inyong itinurong tamang landas. Lahat ng gawain namin ngayong araw na ito, inaalay po namin sa iyong anak na si Jesus, na aming Panginoon. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
MSB Kape at Balita sa Umaga. Hatid sa inyo ni Kuya Dong.
Good morning, admin. Good morning, good morning. And here is the summary of our top stories for today. Good morning, TikTok. Good morning po. Good morning at sa lahat po ng mga nakaantabay mula sa FB Live at sa ating TikTok. Maraming salamat po sa pag-inyong pagsubaybay, patuloy na pagsubaybay sa ating programang MSB Kape at Balita sa Umaga. And here is a summary of our top stories for today. US to China sees harassment in South China Sea. Maynilad to address water supply cut. COA flags OCD over 60.8 million peso delayed projects. ASEAN chair Indonesia urges political solution to Myanmar crisis. Mall guard throws pup from overpass. Albay tourism booms amid Mayon's unrest. ASF state of calamity declared in Bataan. And finally, Gilas girls ruthless in giant drought of Maldives. Proceeding with the top story. The top story is brought to you by Equilibrium Probiotics. US to China sees harassment in South China Sea. Report by Michael Ponongbayan and PLE Brago to the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. In marking the 7th anniversary of the South China Sea ruling on July 12, the United States urged China to follow international law and stop harassing vessels of claimant states operating in their exclusive economic zones. An arbitral tribunal constituted under the 1982 Law of the Sea Convention rejected China's expansive claims in the South China Sea, including areas determined by the tribunal to be part of the Philippines' EEZ and continental shelf and resources. Under the terms of the convention, this ruling is final and legally binding on the Philippines and the PRC, or People's Republic of China. U.S. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller declared on the anniversary of the South China Sea arbitral ruling. The U.S. reaffirmed its July 13, 2020 policy regarding maritime claims in the South China Sea. We continue to urge Beijing to comport its maritime claims with international law as reflected in the 1982 Law of the Sea Convention. Ceases routine harassment of claimant state vessels lawfully operating in their respective exclusive economic zones. Halt its disruption to states' sovereign rights to explore, exploit, conserve, and manage natural resources, and end its interference with the freedoms of navigation and overflight of states lawfully operating in the region, Miller said in a statement. With the increase in Chinese coercion and dangerous operations in South China Sea, the U.S. underscored it is deeply committed to alliance obligations with the Philippines. The Mutual Defense Treaty between the U.S. and the Philippines, signed in 1951, remains the bedrock of cooperation, it said, repeatedly giving assurance that the treaty applies to armed attacks on either of the two countries' armed forces or public vessels or aircraft anywhere in the South China Sea. We will continue working with allies and partners to advance a free and open Indo-Pacific, one that is at peace and grounded in respect for international law, Miller said. During the administration of the late former President Benigno Aquino III, the Philippine government filed an arbitration case against China in The Hague, to challenge Beijing's expansive and excessive claims in the South China Sea. The late Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert de Rosario led the Philippines' winning arbitration case against China. In a landmark ruling on July 12, 2016, the Hague-based Permanent Court of Arbitration, or PCA, found no legal basis for China to claim historic rights to a 9-9 in the South China Sea, and Beijing had breached the sovereign rights of the Philippines. But shortly after the successful outcome, then President Rodrigo Duterte decided to shelve the ruling for fear of displeasing Beijing. China continues to oppose and refuses to honor the arbitral tribunal ruling. U.S. Ambassador Mary Kay Carlson underscored that the Philippines secured a legally binding decision with the 2016 arbitral ruling that validates Philippines' sovereign rights, jurisdiction over its EEZ and continental shelf, and ruling that China's maritime claims and actions to enforce those claims were inconsistent with international law. We applaud the tribunal's decision rejecting the PRC's putative claim to so-called historic rights in the South China Sea, West Philippine Sea. Carlson said in her remarks about the U.S. policy in the South China Sea during the forum hosted by Strat-based ADR Institute. The U.S. maritime capacity building programs, she said, provide countries with maritime domain awareness and the ability to patrol their claims to further promote peace and stability. In the observance of the 7th anniversary of the ruling, Japan reiterated that the award is final and legally binding on the Philippines and China, the parties to this case, and both are required to comply with the award. The claim by China that it will not accept the award is against the principle of peaceful settlement of disputes in accordance with international law, in particular UNCLOS, or United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea, and undermines the rule of law as a fundamental value of the international community. Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi said in a statement. He said that upholding and reinforcing the free and open international order based on the rule of law will be the benefit of all countries, large and small. The minister said Japan highly appreciates the Philippine government for having consistently complied with the award and shown its commitment to be peaceful to the peaceful settlement of disputes in the South China Sea. Japan renewed its objection to maritime claims in the South China Sea that are inconsistent with UNCLOS and remains seriously concerned about the current situation. Tokyo reiterated its strong opposition to unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or coercion. Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo said the award of the South China Sea arbitration is an affirmation of the UNCLOS and its dispute settlement mechanisms. Anniversaries are markers reminding us of the trajectory we have taken as a nation and as a people in the decision to file a case for arbitration. The Philippines opted to take the path of principle, the rule of law, and the peaceful settlement of disputes. The tribunal's decision affirmed the correctness of that course of action, Manalo said in a statement. The Department of Foreign Affairs launched yesterday a microsite providing a central resource containing official information and positions documenting the Philippines' victory against China before the PCA. The microsite provides links to resources including the material submitted to the tribunal and made available by the PCA DFA statements on the South China Sea arbitration, legal and geographic scope of the West Philippine Sea, as well as answers to frequently asked questions. Support. The Armed Forces of the Philippines was heartened by the growing international support for the 2016 decision that rejected China's vast maritime claim in the South China Sea. 7 years after the historical ruling, the military said it is doing more to help secure Philippine waters inside its EEZ despite the continuing unauthorized presence of Chinese military and civilian vessels in the West Philippine Sea. Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos, commander of the AFP's Western Command, or WESCOM, said the 2016 PCA ruling gave credence and validation to Philippine sovereignty, sovereign rights, and entitlements in the West Philippine Sea. We are heartened by the solid facts that the decision is now part of international law, is recognized by the international community, and has become the basis for policies and actions in the West Philippine Sea, he said in a statement issued July 12. Meanwhile, senators said more should be done to fight China's aggressive actions on the West Philippine Sea. Senator Risa Hontiveros said July 12 should be declared National West Philippine Sea Victory Day to commemorate the country's win at the arbitral court, even as China Coast Guard vessels and militia continue to harass Philippine vessels and fisherfolk. For Senator Jinggoy Estrada, the Philippines should not waver in fighting for the rights of fisherfolk and uninformed person and uniformed personnel guarding the waters but facing harassment from Chinese vessels. During the Kapihan sa Senado Forum, Senator Grace Poe said she supported the resolution of Ontiveros urging the Philippine government to seek support from the international community by bringing the case before the United Nations General Assembly. According to former Supreme Court Associate Justice Francis Ardelesa, who was Solicitor General when the Philippines won arbitration, another case can be filed before an ad hoc tribunal constituted under the UNCLOS. Ardelesa suggested that the case should be managed solely by the Office of the Solicitor General without the heavy cost of hiring foreign counsel. Essentially, litigation position litigation options would be the better way for the country, he said, adding that while elevating the case to the UN has its advantages, the Philippines has to contend with the veto power of China. Meanwhile, militant fishers group Pambansang Lakas na Kilusang Mamamalakaya ng Pilipinas or Pamalakaya chided President Marcos for his lack of action in stopping China's encroachment in the country's territorial waters. Members of the group held a rally in Bicol on July 12 in commemoration of the seventh year of the ruling. Pamalakaya Chairman Fernando Hica said they are frustrated and disappointed with Marcos for not asserting the country's tribunal claims in the West Philippine Sea. We have all the legal, political, and historical grounds to assert our national sovereignty. Even the International Court has ruled that China is at fault for its plundering of our environment through massive reclamation and large-scale fishing in our seas, he said in a statement. According to HICAP, fishermen have suffered a 70% loss in income for every fishing trip since China intensified its presence at Panatag or Scarborough Shoal in Zambales during the Duterte administration. With additional reports from Mark Jason Cayabyab and Daphne Galvez and Emmanuel Tupas. Moving on to our next top story, Maynila to address water supply cut. Report by Mark Jason Cayabyab and Bella Cariaso to the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. 6 augmentation projects are ongoing to address the impact of the National Water Resources Board's allocation of 48 cubic meters per second to the 2 Metro Manila water concessionaires due to Angat Dam's declining water level. Aside from the augmentation projects, daily service interruptions have been implemented to cushion the impact of any supply constraints, Maynila said. As these supply augmentation projects gradually come on stream over the course of the year, we should be able to generate more water supply for distribution to customers, Manila Chief Executive Officer Ramoncito Fernandez said yesterday. Daily service interruptions have been isolated to nighttime hours in some areas as additional water supply from the ongoing projects mitigated the drop in water allocation. The ongoing supply augmentation projects include the reactivation of 8 deep wells, 4 modular treatment plants in Cavite, a new treatment plant in Parañaque City, the Poblacion Water Treatment Plant, cross-border supply through the purchase of treated water from Manila Water, and leak repairs and replacement of old pipelines. The 8 deep wells generated at least 5.6 millimeters per day as of March 2023. The 2 modular treatment plants in Imus, Cavite will be operational sometime this year, while the 2 plants in Bacolor will be operational by late 2024. The new water treatment plant in Parañaque City can generate 5 milliliters per day. The Poblacion Water Treatment Plant, the third treatment plant sourcing water from Laguna Lake, would generate 50 milliliters per day by year end and 150 milliliters by early 2024. Maynilad is also hoping to recover 100 milliliters per day by year end in leak repairs and replacing old pipelines. To date, at least 22 milliliters per day were generated from several tapping points as there are plans to increase volume purchase with the cooperation of Manila Water, Fernandez said. Fernandez also gave assurance that Maynilad will shorten the duration of daily service interruptions, at least 591,000 service connections in portions of Caloocan, Malabon, Valenzuela, Navotas, Quezon City, and Maynilad are affected by water interruptions. Fernandez said Maynilad is working to reduce losses in its distribution system. Following major investments in the infrastructure, Maynilad managed to bring down non-revenue water level in West Zone to 43% by 2022. With its newly approved business plan, Maynilad commits to bring non-revenue water down to the internationally accepted level of 25% by 2027, he said. Decline. Meanwhile, Angat Dam recorded the highest daily drop in its water level after it decreased to 178.21 meters compared to its previous level of 178.80 meters. The normal operating level of Angat Dam is 180 meters. So far, there is no further reduction in the allocations for Maynilad and Manila Water. The National Irrigation Administration will likewise continue with the approved allocation. Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System Deputy Administrator Jose Dorado Jr. told Star in a text message, Angat Dam supplies more than 90% of Metro Manila's potable water needs and provides for the irrigation needs of 25,000 hectares of farmlands in Bulacan and Pampanga. The water levels of other dams, Tipo Dam in Bulacan, the Mesa Dam in Quezon City, ang Buklaw Dam and Binga Dam in Benguet, Pantabangan Dam in Bulacan, Magat Dam in Isabela, and Caliraya Dam in Laguna also dropped. Maynilad Corporate Communications head Jennifer Rufo said at least 80 mobile tankers are ready to provide water supply to Filipinos affected by daily service interruptions. We have 80 mobile tankers that we can deploy, but as much as possible, we advise our customers to be prepared so that they will not depend on tanker delivery and at the same time the tankers can be reserved for medical institutions, she added. Water Resources Department. Senator Grace Poe on July 12 reiterated the need to create a Department on Water Resources amid the hours-long service interruptions resulting from Angat's Dam declining water level, and the El Nino phenomenon. There are 30 different government agencies governing our water distribution and management, and they are not complementing each other. Paul said in Filipino at the Kapihan sa Senado Forum. We're supposed to be a tropical country, and yet we have problems with water supply. The problem is not with water flow in the country. It is a management problem, she added. Paul said the NWSS has become inutile in its administration of water. NWSS should have a contingency plan. We shouldn't be dancing and praying for rain to happen. As far as I know, MWSS should be the one supposed to be actively looking for new water sources, which they haven't been doing, she added. Paul also urged authorities to come up with modern and long-term solutions instead of primitive water rationing at barangays and relying on rainfall. More dams and water catchments should be constructed and repairs must be done to prevent water leakages, Paul advised. Moving on to our next top story. Good morning. Oy, si Dude. Dudski Sanchez, good morning. Brother Edwin, good morning. And Kapitana Janet, good morning. Thanks for joining me this morning. And our next top story is COA flags OCD over 60.8 million delayed projects. Report by Elizabeth Marcelo to the Philippine Star. The Commission on Audit has called out the Office of Civil Defense over the delayed implementation of various disaster mitigation projects amounting to 60.838 million pesos. In its 2022 annual audit report on the OCD, the COA said 8 projects remain incomplete or unliquidated as of December 31st, 2022, even if the funds were downloaded to the implementing agencies from 2017 to 2020-2021. The COA said the projects were supposed to provide relief, recovery, and reconstruction assistance to affected localities at the soonest possible time. Among the uncompleted projects were COVID isolation facilities in Libacao, Aklan, and Pagadian City in Zamboanga del Sur. Audit reports show that funds were downloaded to the implementing agencies on June 8, 2021, but the facilities remained uncompleted with fund balances of 29.861 million pesos and 12.458 million pesos for the Limbacao and Pagadian projects, respectively. Also delayed are projects for communities affected by Typhoon Binta in December 2017 in Palawan, enhancing the capability of the Emergency Operations Center in Bohol, relief and rehabilitation of those affected by Mayon volcano's eruption in March 2019, and reconstruction of 3 footbridges in Balbalan, Kalinga, damaged by Typhoon Lawin. Distribution of financial assistance to relatives of military personnel killed during the May 2017 Marawi siege, and repair and rehabilitation of various infrastructures in Batanes damaged by Typhoon Ferdy on December 2016 have also yet to be completed. The COA said the OCD agreed to the audit recommendation to coordinate with the implementing agencies for the immediate completion of the projects and reversion of unused funds to the Bureau of the Treasury. Moving on to our global update. Good morning po, Ate Cho. Thanks for joining me. ASEAN Chair Indonesia urges political solution to Myanmar crisis from Agence France Press to the Philippine Star. Jakarta, Indonesia. ASEAN Chair Indonesia on Wednesday urged a political solution to the Myanmar crisis as the bloc started the second day of talks to form a united position on the coup-racked country. Myanmar has been ravaged by deadly violence since the military coup deposed Aung San Suu Kyi's government more than 2 years ago, unleashing a bloody crackdown on dissent. The 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations has long been decried as toothless talking shop, and it remains split over diplomatic attempts to resolve the crisis. Only a political solution will lead to a durable peace, Retno Marsudi told ASEAN foreign ministers in her opening remarks on the second day of talks in Jakarta. We are still very much concerned to see the continuing and increasing violence in Myanmar. We strongly urge all stakeholders to denounce violence as this is paramount to build trust. Indonesia's top diplomat was reiterating the bloc's position that a resumption of dialogue between Myanmar's warring parties and a negotiated political pact should be the only way to bring an end to more than 2 years of turmoil. But ASEAN efforts to kickstart the five-point plan that calls for an end to violence and the restarting peace talks have been fruitless as Myanmar's junta ignores international criticism and refuses to engage with its opponents. The bloc's initiatives are limited by its charter principles of consensus and non-interference. Ministers were still hammering out a joint position on Myanmar on the second day of talks, but the communique would be issued by the end of the meeting on Wednesday, a Southeast Asian diplomat said. In an early draft of the joint communique seen by AFP, the Myanmar section was left blank. ASEAN has tried to show a united front at its official high-level meetings from which Myanmar is barred. But Thailand last month hosted the junta's foreign minister for controversial informal talks that further split the bloc. On Wednesday, Marsudi appeared to criticize that meeting, which Indonesia did not attend. The implementation of the five-point consensus should remain the focus of ASEAN, she said. Any other efforts must support the implementation of the five-point consensus. Moving on to our regional stories. Shout out po to Ashira Realty. Yun po yung business po nila Ate Cho. Please support Ashira Realty. Marami po sila mga bagong properties na binibenta ngayon. Visit their site. Mall guard throws pop from overpass. Janvic Mateo, Emmanuel Tupas to the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. A security guard of a mall in Quezon City was pilloried by the public after he allegedly threw a pop from an overpass on Tuesday. Janine Santos, who witnessed the incident, said the security guard of SM North EDSA was ordering several children to leave the establishment's premises. When the youngsters did not comply, the security guard took their pet dog and threw the animal from an overpass, to the horror of mall goers. When the other witness When another witness confronted the security guard, he allegedly retorted, "Wala ako pake. I do not care." Lahat po ng tao ay na nakasaksi halos maiyak dahil sa kawalang hiya ng security guard. All those who witnessed the incident nearly cried due to the security guard's shamelessness, Santos said in a Facebook post. Concerned citizens rushed the puppy to a veterinarian, but it was declared dead on arrival due to severe injuries. The security guard was immediately dismissed by the management of SM North EDSA after the incident, which went viral on social media platforms. We have called the attention of the security agency to conduct an immediate and thorough investigation into the matter. The security guard has been dismissed and is no longer allowed to serve in any of our malls nationwide, the mall said in a statement, asserting that it is pet-friendly establishment. SM North also said it strongly condemns acts that endanger or harm the lives of animals. The guard's employer, RJC Corporate Security Services Incorporated, same dito sa Tarlac, has also launched an investigation together with public authorities and other parties involved. Kailangan po yatang paigtingin yung pagre-recruit ng mga security guard dahil marami rin pong guard dito sa SM Tarlac ang may ganong attitude. No? Feeling nila sila may-ari ng mall. So I hope RJC Corporate Security Services Inc. will be more careful in selecting personnel. Dapat yan, may neuro sila talaga. At totoong neuro, hindi neuro bayad lang, neuro bayad, no? Wala pong neuro bayad lang. Dapat po yung legit. Baka po yung mga yan may difference sa pag-iisip, no? Ibibigay niyo ng otoridad na mangharas ng mga mall goers niyo. Moving on. Raps eyed. Meanwhile, the Philippine Animal Welfare Society, or PAWS, is bent on filing criminal complaints against him. PAWS said it has coordinated with several people who witnessed the incident. The animal rights group said it intends to file charges against the security guard for violation of Republic Act 8485 or the Animal Welfare Act, which carries penalties of imprisonment of 6 months to 2 years and fines ranging from 1,000 to 5,000 pesos. PAWS is committed to file a case that hold accountable the person responsible for this horrific cruelty, it said in a statement. Another group of animal welfare advocates, the Animal Kingdom Foundation, said the incident was a clear case of animal cruelty and child abuse. Quezon City to conduct probe. The Quezon City government said yesterday it is investigating the incident. Quezon City is a safe haven for animals, and we are strict in enforcing Republic Act 8485 or the Animal Welfare Act. City Attorney Nino Casimiro said in a statement, "We are currently conducting a full investigation into the matter and will apply the full weight of the law in the event that any guilt is established," he added. Iris Gonzalez. Our next regional story. Albay tourism booms amid Mayon's unrest. Report by Seth De Matera and Romina Cabrera to the Philippine Star. Legazpi City, Philippines. Mayon volcano's restiveness is drawing more local and foreign tourists. The Albay Provincial Tourism, Culture and Arts Office, or PTCAO, reported yesterday. PTCAO Chief Dorothy Cole, or Cole, said many hotels, restaurants, and other tourist destinations around Mayon have reported increases in their customers. Cole cited the Kagsawa ruins in Barangay Busay in Daraga Town, where visitors flock to view Mayon as it glows lava and other volcanic materials. She said stores have been extending their business hours until 10 p.m. to cater to the surge of Mayon viewers. Before the eruption, Kagsawa Ruins Park visitors ran from 150 to 200 in a day. Now it peaks to 500 visitors a day. Coles told the Star, "We have a list of safe viewing places in Albay for our visitors when Mayon is erupting," she said. Coles said non-cancellation of flights to Albay despite Mayon's unrest has contributed to increased tourist arrivals. Paula said flights at the former Legazpi City Airport were canceled during the 2018 Mayon eruption because of its proximity to the volcano. Now that the airport has been transferred to Daraga and is safe from Mayon's eruption hazards, no flight is canceled. That's why visitors continue to come to Albay, she said. In the past 24 hours, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, recorded 8 pyroclastic density currents generated by a dome and lava front collapse. Up to 423 rockfall events, 24 volcanic earthquakes, plumes that rose to 750 meters, and sulfur dioxide emissions that averaged 1,128 tons were monitored. PHIVOLCS said Mayon remains under Alert Level 3 due to relatively high levels of unrest. And for our final regional story, ASF state of calamity declared in Bataan. Reports by Rick Sapno and Bella Carriazo to the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. A state of calamity has been declared in Bataan due to the outbreak of African swine fever. The Sangguniang Panlalawigan passed a resolution declaring the state of calamity, which Governor Jose Enrique Garcia III approved on July 9. The governor said 25% of hog farms in the province were affected by the swine disease. At least 333 pigs in 17 hog farms were found positive for ASF, while another 287 pigs have been tested. As of July 4, the Bataan Provincial Veterinary Office said ASF cases had been detected in the towns of Hermosa, Morong, Orion, Pilar, and Samal. In a radio interview, Bataan Provincial Veterinarian Alberto Venturina said 240 pigs were recently culled. Venturina said Garcia ordered the setting up of checkpoints in the province to monitor the entry and exit of hogs and pork products. He said traders should present the necessary documents before entry of pork products in the province, and transport to other areas in the country will be allowed. Victorina said the state of calamity would ensure the provincial government could tap its calamity funds to help affected hog raisers. Our recommendation is 3,000 pesos per head with a maximum of 20 heads per farmer, regardless of size and breed. We are adopting the national guidelines, although our budget is not big compared to the government, he said. Victorina said the state of calamity also aims to prevent an increase in the prices of meat and related products. ASF free. Meanwhile, with only San Miguel Town classified as a red zone, Bulacan may soon be declared as ASF free. Provincial Veterinarian Voltaire Basinang said. He said that the last ASF case detected in Bulacan was in Angat in December 2022. Ozan Ocampo, Information Officer of the Department of Agriculture in Central Luzon, said the highest number of ASF red zones in the region was monitored in Nueva Ecija with 18, followed by Pampanga with, with 14, Tarlac 8, Bataan 7, Aurora and Zambales 4 each. In Negros Occidental, more ASF cases were detected in Hinigaran as well as in Cabangcalan and San Carlos cities. San Carlos Mayor Renato Bustillo said hog deaths were recently reported in barangays Bizal and Bulwangan. The Bureau of Animal Industry said ASF cases were recorded in barangays Cambao and Gargato in Hinigaran. As of Tuesday, the Negros Occidental Provincial Animal Biosecurity Incident Management Team said 16,641 deaths, representing 9.18% of the hog population in the province, were reported. Losses to the hog industry were estimated at 189.6 million pesos, with 3,670 livestock raisers in 151 barangays affected, with additional reports from Ramon Efren Lazaro and Gilbert Bayora. And capping off today's top stories in sports. Okay, good morning, Miss Jaja. This next news update is brought to you by the Hidden Vietnam in Parañaque City. Gilas girls ruthless in giant crowd of Maldives. Report by John Brian Ulanday to the Philippine Star. Manila, Philippines. Gilas Filipinas girls recorded one for the books by annihilating Maldives 144 to 22. Wow! To stay unbeaten in Group A in the FIBA U16 Women's Asian Championship Division B late Tuesday night at the Prince Hamza Hall in Amman, Jordan. The Philippines seeking Division A promotion unleashed a crippling 41-5 barrage in the first quarter, including a 19-0 start en route to scoring the massive 122-point victory. Gilas led by as many as 125 points in the highest score and winning margin in both divisions, and this edition so far to go 2-0 after the 79-40 debut win against Hong Kong. Sofia Canindo scattered 21 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 12 steals to show the way, as all 12 players, including 10 in double digits, scored for the words of Coach Pat Aquino. Maria Cristina Lapasaran and Nevaeh Smith fired 16 points apiece. Ava Fajardo had 15, while Ryan Kelly Nair, Kimi Saison, and Isabela de Jesus had 13 points each. Alicia Palma, 11, and Scarlett Mercado, 10. And Ariel Star de la O put in help with 10. Saison and Mercado had 7 steals apiece, and Gilas snatched a total of 47 steals in an unforgiving defense against Maldives, which had 73 turnovers. Gilas' defense also resulted in 103 points of off turnovers, including 73 fast breaks points and 82 points inside the paint. Gilas led in all departments, highlighted by huge gaps in assists, 40 and 3, and rebounds, 55-41. Up next for Gilas is Jordan, 1-1, for a chance to top Group A entering the crossover. Semifinals against Group B, Iran, Singapore, Malaysia, and Guam are the teams slugging it out in Group B. Jordan bowed to Hong Kong 67-64 for a tie at number 2 so far. Maldives slid to 0-2 after a 94-32 loss to Jordan. And that concludes our news updates for today. Time check is 6:35. Again, here is the summary of our top stories for today. July 13, 2023, Thursday. U.S. to China sees harassment in the South China Sea. Maynilad to address water supply cut. COA flags OCD over 60.8 million peso delayed projects. And on to a global. ASEAN chair Indonesia urges political solution to Myanmar crisis. And for our regional top stories, Mulgar throws pop from overpass. Albay tourism boom amid Mayon's unrest. ASF state of calamity declared in Bataan. And Gilas girls ruthless in giant crowd of Maldives. Oh, hello, Aching Sylvia. Thanks for watching. And those are, again, the top stories for today, July 13, 2023. And thanks for joining. Shout out again to those who joined us today. O si Tita Paz Ginakaran, good morning po. Ate Sylvia, good morning again, Ate Sylvia. And Sister Jaja Parungaw, thank you. She's the owner of the Hidden Vietnam. So please scan the QR code to be able to see their Facebook page. Ate Cho, again, Ate Cho, thanks for joining. At wag po natin kalilimutan suportahan ang Ashira Realty. Si Kapitana Janet, si Brother Edwin, Chip, good morning Chip. Si Dudes is watching, Dudes Sanchez is watching, Tamayo, good morning Brad. At si Manong Bert, good morning po sa lahat. At sa TikTok, for those of you who joined me in TikTok live, thank you very much. Truly appreciate your giving time to our program. At this point, we'd like to also invite everyone to join us. Ito po siya. In the first magkasangga para sa AITA Play for a Cause. No? Please scan the QR code to be able to see the details of this event. This will be on July 29, and we are still looking for sponsors for the event. If you'd like to have your name placed in the shirt, no, or in the shirts that will be part of the kit for the players, please let us know, no, by sending a message either to me, private message, or you could also send a communication to the organizers of this event. Please visit the Facebook page of Smash Point Sports Center to get more details about the event. Okay, that's about it. Again, thank you very much for for everybody who joined this episode of MSB Kape at Balita sa Umaga. Thank you.